What's up, everyone? It's your boy NornRad89 here, back with my buddy Steve. I know it's been a while, but we had the holiday season, and I hope everyone had an awesome New Year's, Christmas, all that jazz. It's a brand new year, 2025, and we are here to talk some Courage the Cowardly Dog. How are you feeling, Steve?
As soon as you said all that jazz, the song immediately popped into my head, and my ADHD just went off the rails. So, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all the goods, whatever you
Yep,
celebrate. Well, I know you
Kwanzaa,
YouTubers.
everything.
Yeah, yeah. But to the viewers, I don't know what you all celebrate. So happy everything. Yeah, no, it has been a while. Voices, me and Angel, we always take December off for content. Just big
hmm
old family time. Um, New Year's Eve is also my birthday, so I take for that, and then all good stuff. I don't count the years anymore. I celebrate the birthdays, but the numbers I don't. I ignore the number now. But yeah, no, now back in action. I'm excited. Well, a lot happened. I mean, people who've been following us for a while. There's a different background behind me. There was a move mixed in there as well. It's not as set up. I mean, my stuff is kind of back there, but you can't really see it too well. Although I guess I do have my blur on. Um, oh, I don't want to blur it.
There it goes.
It went away completely. Let's see how it looks without the blurring. I'm always there not to fiddle with it, but turn it on the
Ooh,
portrait. I
it's a
think you
little
kind of
brighter,
see it a
like
little
pops more
better.
now. It's like,
Yeah, it could seem, but I want to get some posters and stuff up there. We'll see. Although this room's temporary because when we have baby number two, I'm out of here, and this is going to be the second baby's room. So I don't know
I'm
where
gonna
the hell
get
I'm going to
kicked
be
out.
next. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be back with you talking courage.
I know it's going to be fun. Yeah, diving into now. We're on season three, episodes 7 through 9, and a fun batch of episodes. Not really horror heavy, but theme heavy. Really good themes, and comedy was pretty funny. But yeah, not too many scary or horror episodes with this batch.
Not really. A little nods to horror here and there, but nothing super spooky. A lot of mysticism, a lot of sci-fi, some really cool animation choices that I want to highlight.
Definitely.
That really stood out to me. We'll get into them for sure. But yeah, you want to dive into the first one?
Let's go.
All right.
Season three, episode 7.
Episode 7, Part 1, Feast of the Bullfrogs. So, here, a group of bullfrogs who have had all the water in their pond dried up start to invade the farmhouse for water. They are there, they enslave Courage and his owners, forcing them to act like frogs. So, it's another environmental episode, too.
Yep.
This is a consistent theme with the show. And I feel like I point it out every time, but I feel like, you have to highlight this is the main theme of the show. Clearly, the writers are paying attention to environment stories. Obviously, we get a little bit of drought version here for the frogs. Uh,
Yeah.
and they, and then of course, go to the farmhouse, and they want them to build this pond for them, which is, yeah. What did you think?
I thought the bullfrogs they kind of reminded me like some of them like the buff one reminded me of almost a design of like the battle toads. It's kind of like this old game, Sega Genesis game, but just the big
Oh,
like kind of right hand one that was like the king's helper. He ends up like
yeah.
kicking the farmhouse door in when they bust in and everything.
That's yeah, maybe. How old's the game?
I think that game is from like 94. I want to say like 94, 95, maybe something like that.
Oh, so yeah, I mean before the show, so it could have been a nod to the game. I wouldn't be surprised if any of the writers or animators had played that game. It might have
Oh
been
yeah.
on top of their mind.
But yeah, I thought it was really cool. Like you said, environmental themes, and then even with the frogs, it kind of just speaks, like you said, on like how it does, like when we get rid of rainforests or total environments are wiped off. That like where does the people go? Where do the animals go? All that kind of stuff, and it's like I like that aspect of the show too. But just in general, having them turn into frogs and they're trying to get Eustace and Mariel to like croak and look like them and eat like them and stuff. That was it was hilarious.
A lot of transformation stuff in these batch of episodes.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was yeah. There's a lot of body horror. Yeah, you can go definitely some body horror for sure. Nods to
mhm.
like substance. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, have I don't think we've ever had, well, other than Frogman recently. Did you see Frogman?
Oh, Frogman. I actually did not see that movie. No.
I actually loved it. It was really
Yeah.
fun. It's a, yeah, for those who don't know, so Frogman is like a found footage film that Angel and I covered, and it's a little silly. It's a little bit of a comedy, I would
Like
say.
tongue in cheek kind of comedy.
Yeah, it's not like hardy har har like horror comedy. It's a little more subtle. Like the jokes aren't obvious, but just by concept alone, it's pretty silly. And it reminds me actually, this episode made me think of that. Um,
That's nice.
because there's some transformation stuff in there, and it's like a frog with powers. It's really weird. But other than that, because the reason I was thinking is I can't really think of horror movies that have used frogs or like amphibians. I can't think of. Can you think of any?
Yeah, not to my knowledge. I mean, like the closest I would say is just, yeah, not really, because it's just like alligator stuff, crocodile stuff, Lake Placid, but I can't think of overgrown like frog situation. There probably is a movie out there, definitely for sure. I'm pretty sure there is one like just named Frogs.
I mean, if you could think it, I'm sure it's out there, probably, if at least a short film, made like a
Yeah,
low budget short film somewhere, right? But obviously now we have Frogman. I recommend it. Go watch it. It's a fun time. I think it's on like Tubi or something.
nice.
And I hoped they left it open for a sequel. So anyway, so my fingers are crossed. But that bringing it back to the episode, yeah, just a couple like silly moments. There was like a kind of like a lot of some slapstick where I think they were using their tongues to slap them at one point. And it was making me laugh.
Yeah, and then how ends up Courage ends up like kind of was it catching him with all the fly paper, and I
Dude,
like
they
how
used the
he
fly
kind of
paper.
sticks it. Yeah, he just sticks it to the ceiling and all the fly and the foods, and like gets them all in one shot, and like just throws all the frogs.
It's a silly one. It's a silly one, but it's fun, and I like that they maintain their message and theming. No one they never act out of character ever. They're really good at keeping Eustace, Muriel, and Courage pretty consistent in terms of their reactions to these things. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a good sort of another little showcase of their dynamic.
Oh yeah, that's what's fun is like all these episodes now we're kind of when you get to season three by this time, like you said, as if you're watching the whole seasons and stuff, you just get so comfortable with these characters that you just kind of want to be with them and vibe with them as they go through certain situations.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty. It's yeah, they've become sort of comfort characters for me for sure now. Yeah.
Would you like to go on to part B now or at part two?
Yeah, this is a cool one. I'm not gonna. So again, it's one Wikipedia. For some reason, this one has like the whole plot. So I'm only gonna read like the first couple of sentences, and then we'll
Cool.
dive into it. Two alien teddy bears blast the citizens out of sight when they are looking for a giant worm. The Courage discovers the worm outside of the farmhouse and it reacts whenever he plays his tuba. Um, and then sort of they get whisked off, and it's this whole space. I'm not gonna go into the whole plot, but yeah. So it's Tulip's Worm is the name of the episode. I don't think I said it, but this one I was gonna say this is my shout out in terms of animation. Especially when they get to the planet, the other planet, the
Yeah.
way that the alien is drawn is just so beautiful, and I noticed it's such a completely different animation style. It almost
Yeah.
harkens back to 2D again. Um, I thought the teddy bears were cute. I don't know if they were referring at all to Care Bears. They kind of reminded me of them a little. But yeah, I know. What did you think?
I like this one a lot. I think this one might be my favorite of the batch, just because, like you said, there's so many cool elements with the animation style. I like the song, like the very simple tuba sound. Like I thought it was cute, and you see the worm just come out, and he's like dancing.
The worm was
And he has the tuba classics, and he puts the headphones on him. And yeah, the teddy bears were cute too. So I thought it was everything accompanied this one. Kind of reminded me over like Mystery Science Theater. Like when you watch
yeah,
some of those episodes and they just watch like these kind of weird B movie science movies. That's what this one kind of reminded me of.
yeah. It felt like a really fun science adventure, sci-fi adventure. Even from the silly. Is this this isn't the first spaceship that's powered by a bicycle, is it? I feel like that's a consistent thing in
Have
this
you ridden a bike?
show.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's a constant yeah joke where they're just like, hey, you've ridden a bike before, right? Like they want to simplify all these
Yeah, they
complex
were like,
things.
"Are you familiar with this theory, this engine dynamic, this whatever, whatever?" And he was like, "No." And they're like, "Have you ridden a
Or
bike?" Yes.
we've had episodes where Courage got like the piloting for dummies book or
Hmm.
whatever, like books that just simply,
Yeah. No, I love this. It's sort of, you have like part like space invasion, part like chase movie as well. They're rushing to get to this other planet, right? Muriel and the bears are getting digested.
I know
Um,
that was cute when you see them like in the in the skin kind of begging and they push out of the worm and like
mhm.
Courage is like, no.
Oh, like the one bear's trying to give him directions from the stomach.
Yeah.
But then they get to the planet. I gotta tell you, like the design of Tulip, which is she, I guess. So I guess the worm is her pet. The
Hmm.
worm goes off. The bears are after the worm, and then I guess she, wants to keep everything as a pet. She wants to keep Muriel as a pet, Courage. But she just looks so cool, like the sort of the neon colors that they used for her, and maybe pastel, maybe is the better kind of color
Yeah.
palette. I don't. But it reminded me almost of like I don't know, like an old Hanna-Barbera, or even something you might have seen get parodied on like Adult Swim.
Hmm.
The way she was drawn, right?
Yeah, it did have like, yeah, I could see that for sure. Like even some of the, because they do like those mini cartoons that are just between commercials, and even like you said, her design, it popped compared to everything else on screen. You can tell like they wanted her to be very visual.
Yeah, yeah, it was just really cool. Obviously, yeah, she had like flowers in her head, like
Yeah,
instead
and
of
she had, I
hair.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
and every like even her skin, and then her little dress, and then what she had a band-aid. That was cute. How like Courage rips off her band-aid to use it.
Parachute down to the ship, and then they kind of leave the bear and the worm with her. Yeah.
You know. So another
No.
one that has a very simple ending. This one, like I said, not very villain heavy, but it's more just creative in terms of the story and like the design, playing around, having a fun adventure.
Yeah, yeah. No, this was fun. I think this was definitely, like you said, like for me, like also like a highlight of the batch that we watched. This was just kind of like a fun. This was a really fun one. It kept actually really
Yeah,
kept me engaged.
definitely. Did you want to move on to was it episode 8, part
Yeah,
1 now?
episode 8, part 1. So in Louvre are we two? So while Courage and his owners are visiting the Louvre, Muriel is convinced that the Mona Lisa looks just like her, and they're like sisters. After the guard is convinced that it looks nothing like Muriel, he locks the museum, expecting everyone to be out. Little does he know that Courage and his owners are trapped inside, and the paintings come to life. So yeah, it's like Mars and Venus are aligning or something, right?
Yeah,
And so when the light, the eclipse, whatever hits the museum, everything comes to life. This is a fun one, night at the museum kind of situation.
definitely. Yeah, that was for sure. When I saw this, I was like, this clearly feels like it's not in the museum for Courage.
Which I think this definitely predates Night at the Museum. I think Night at the Museum was a few years after this.
Yeah, I feel like that was like a 2002 or 2003 movie. So I think this probably came like before that.
Yeah, well, this episode was '02.
Yeah.
I think Night at the Museum, I think it's even later than that. Night at the Museum is '06.
Ooh, yeah. So
Yeah.
three for 4 years prior.
I remember it being sort of like middle school, high school for me. Well, this was like, yeah, before that,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, no, this is a fun one. This is cute. It's cute. So yeah, you have Mona Lisa, falling for the thinking man, right? The thinker,
The thinker, yeah.
statue, but he can't make up his mind, which I thought was a funny gimmick.
Oh yeah, the jokes in here were very just they hit close to home with certain things with how they portrayed the Mona Lisa and the thinker and like females and males. It portrayed a lot and it just hit close to home for a lot of things. There are common times where men think way too much.
Hmm. Well, right. It's sort of like a swap, right? Where like she just wants to, have a romantic evening. She
You
wants
know,
to make out and do romantic things. Which some of the jokes also got a little mature, which I was a little surprised with Courage. I mean, they weren't like explicit, but like they were alluding to some stuff. I was like, oh, okay, sure, all right. They gave her this sort of like Italian accent but it wasn't really good, you know? It
No,
was
yeah, she did kind of feel like a yeah, like you said, a B movie accent kind of thing.
it wasn't yeah, it didn't feel like a real good Italian accent. I don't know if they were doing it on purpose or they were just like, just they just told the actor, try it and see, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll keep it anyway. Um, and then the thinker, they just kind of gave him like this like himbo kind of like American dude accent, He's like, oh, I mean, I could get I don't know, I could get a coffee or I get a decaf, I could get a tea. I don't know what I want. I got to think about it.
That's the problem too. Yeah, once you get so many options, that's the hardest thing. Yeah,
I mean, I felt that. I was like,
yeah,
we are, especially nowadays, right? I feel like we have way too many options. I get like, what do they call it? Choice paralysis, right? Or just like, I don't know.
yeah. You're just like frozen in time. You're just like, oh, I don't even want to make one right now.
But Muriel,
But Muriel,
is this the one she gets stuck in the painting?
yeah,
Right.
I think yeah, she's stuck in the painting, so he's trying. Courage is trying to get them back in there, or to
Hmm.
switch them out.
The thinker uses his clothes, right, to go try to
Yeah,
impress Mona Lisa. Um, and then so then I forgot I don't know what painting it's supposed. Well, there's a lot of paint, like they reference a lot of famous paintings here. Um,
yeah.
Very briefly, they reference the Scream.
The Scream one. There's that one with the park, and it has like the no dog sign because Courage leaps into the painting, and like
Hmm.
you see the officer at the park, and he's like, "No dogs allowed."
Right, right. Well, then Mona and the thinker, they get food at that diner painting that's really famous.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's cool.
Um, and then I'm trying to think of the Scream. Then there is I don't know the one Cupid's in. Apparently Cupid's in. I don't know if that's a real painting or not.
That one, yeah, I don't. That one I don't remember off the top of my head though, but I do remember we had because they're in France. We had Quack show up. The Quack was in there for like a second.
Oh
He's in
yeah,
the very beginning of the episode playing an accordion,
that's right. That's right. Oh yeah, and it has been a minute since LeQuac has been around. So
and
they had
then
to
our
get one in
weird
there.
And then our weird security guard was he who's supposed to be French, right? Or English or something, right? Our little security guard guy.
Probably,
He
I'm
had like
assuming trying to be French, but
he looked kind of like a knockoff Napoleon or something.
yeah. Well, that's a joke that, well, my husband and I talk about it all the time, but I know other people have made fun of it. Is like in movies, they'll like if the actor can't do the accent, they'll just put on a generic British accent, and then that's it. Like Americans just think everyone over there just sounds British, no
Yeah,
matter
they
whether
can't pick out
you're
the dialect or nothing.
yeah, whether you're in France or Germany or wherever, you just everyone's British for some reason. Um, But yeah, and then so this yeah, so the resolution is Courage steals Cupid's arrow, distracts him with the Game Boy, because whatever. And then gets this other statue who's smooching some other lady statue to fall in love
Yeah,
with Mona so she can get her like, her one night stand while she's alive. Um, and then the poor woman is left. I don't. Does she get anyone? I don't think she gets anyone. She's just left in
I
the
don't think
cold.
so. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, the one that he leaves.
So she's not none for her. No loving for her. And then yeah, so that's and then everyone's happy, everyone's getting some that night, and then Muriel gets out of the painting, and then we get our final reference, which is I think American Gothic. Is it called American
Was the
Gothic?
last one. Yeah,
Is with the farmer and his wife.
yep.
Um,
The farmer wife. Yeah, and they go trailing into the painting like to find the farmhouse.
Yeah, and they go through the painting to nowhere, which is kind of cool. I know it's like a throwaway joke, but it would be interesting if that painting actually was like a gateway to like where they lived, and that's actually where they lived was that farm or something in the painting. Like that would be some weird, twisty sort of supernatural explanation or something.
I know, like secretly, like when you look at the painting, it's like we've never noticed it for decades, and like you can see Courage and Mario in the farmhouse in the
That would
window
be
now.
fun. Yeah, they were actually that would be fun. But yeah, no, but overall, I enjoy it. Yes, it's a silly one. It's kind of up there with the Greek god that loved
Yeah,
Muriel. I kind of put it up. I mean, even less. I wouldn't say maybe. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's equal levels goofy, but I enjoyed this one more, even though it reminded me of that
yeah. This one had a cool, fun vibe, and I like like you said, the museum setting, the painting setting, like that whole area. It was like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, totally.
Let's
All right, part B,
go.
kind of our only horror reference, Night of the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
So after leaving a county fair, Courage and his owners get lost through a cornfield and crash into a scarecrow. They take him home, and Muriel fixes him up and makes him a mouth so he can talk. As soon as he and soon he becomes depressed when he is not scary enough to frighten away Muriel's attackers. So he decides to train himself to be stronger, scarier, in order to protect Muriel. Uh, I mean, again, this was sort of the like not a real villain episode either, um, but just kind of cute to see. Like, yeah, the Scarecrow can't scare. What's the point of him anyway, right?
Yeah, I know. It's like no one was afraid of him at all. And then like it was cute though that Muriel wanted to fix him up. I thought that was real cute. And she had him on the table and she's like, let's go, let's fix him up, and she had like them like a doctor sewing them together and stuff and everything. Of
Hmm.
course he doesn't like the way Eustace treats her and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And so his answer is to get buff and tough,
Yeah, he
which
wants to
I
do
was hoping
the
he was just gonna be creepier, but he decided
yeah.
no, we're gonna go like Tybo and get all like ripped or something. I don't know. There was some cool imagery in it though when they first hit him, and he's got like the crows all over him and he's kind of like hitting the car. I thought that
Mhm.
looked kind of cool, a little creepy. I enjoyed that.
I haven't like yeah, like I said, the design of the flock of birds because they had a little bit different animation to them and like the color and the drawing of the birds when the flocks would get together and stuff and his voice. I thought the scarecrow had a very unique voice, his little depressing kind of voice and the way he talked, and it was just kind of low.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it was cool. Um, and then some other interesting tidbits there. But yeah, no, I just thought he was cute. Yeah, he was a fun character, the Scarecrow. Again, this is another reoccurring theme, right? Of like be yourself. Sort of I think of like the
Yeah, because
shadow.
that was the main theme. Yeah, that was true. I would say that's kind of the theme because by the time we get to our third act, our resolution point, it's kind of him discovering something else, besides being scary, that he can do other things too.
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny, like, going from like, we started with the bullfrogs, so like you have the environmental themes that run through many episodes, and then this is also a running theme, is this kind of like the inner the inner conflict resulting in like perceived villainhood or in this case trying to live up to be a villain because he talks about like his father and grandfather and great aunt were like scary scarecrows, but then Mary was like, it
Yep.
doesn't mean you have to be scary. You could just do whatever you want. Um, so kind of, yeah. So bringing back that cool theme, I appreciated.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, this one was a nice wholesome one. Like I said, a lot of this batch and these ones were more theme heavy, not scary, and it was just like wholesome vibes with a lot of the story elements.
Mm-hmm. Uh, but yeah. All right. So part two, I think.
Yeah.
No, one, two. No, episode three, part one. Sorry, it's the third
Part one.
episode,
Okay,
episode
we're on.
eight. Or nine, part one. Mondo Magic. Muriel feels she is being watched by someone. Courage discovers a magic kit on the porch. After doing tricks with it, a magician named Mondo comes out and shows off his magic. He is soon discovered to be a hideous creature who traps Eustace in the TV and makes Muriel his bride by turning her into the same creature. So, a little more horror because we got like the body
Yep.
transformation stuff here. The creature designs, though, you ever see Rocco's Modern Life?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do remember Rocco's Modern Life. Wow. Yeah.
They looked like Mr. and Mrs. Big Head. And I could because it was like that amphibious kind of look, and it was like triangular, it just had that kind of like, and the eyes were buggy. Um,
Yeah.
it was like a creepier version of those characters, but it reminded me
Yeah,
of
they did
them.
have a creepy factor because they were very like said thin, and then they had what like the kind of shell back, spiky shell back or something going on. It
Mm-hmm.
was
Like a Shelby, yeah. And with no names of the creatures. But yeah, so this one we also had the return of Dr. Vindaloo.
yep.
Again, not always helpful, but he tried.
I like how
But
Courage
yeah,
when he's trying to do his magic tricks though, and he's like whoa, 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 whoa. Like, and it's like a bouquet of fish or something when he first
mm,
tries it, and he does the one.
it's like a few silly things that he turns them into, or he creates. Yeah, but this is again another fun little pocket episode too of just unrequited love and for there's a lot of that too in these episodes, right? Like trying to get Muriel to be a bride, because she's a hot commodity, this Muriel. I
Oh
tell you,
yeah,
the amount of people in this show that have tried to seduce her or make her like their bride,
their
her bride.
sisters, yeah, or like the Viking sisters who are like, "You're one of us." Like everybody's trying to get Muriel to be part of their
Everyone,
crew.
she needs her. I think about something. There's something about Mary. There's something about Muriel. Everyone wants her. No, but overall, again, this is a cute one. Again, I like the body transformations. I like the even the use of like lighting and coloring for the magic is really good here. And then again, Eustace being trapped in the TV and they were going through different channels. Like that's kind of like I think they've used the TV as a gag like that before too.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, because at first, Eustace seems like he's very excited because he wants to be on TV and he gets in the TV and stuff, and then finds out soon that there's other stuff going on the different channels when they change them.
Yeah, it's fun, it's goofy. That was a cool one. Anything else on this one? I know it's another lighter one.
Yeah, definitely more like I said, we cranked up the horror in this one because we have an actual creature design, more body horror. I like the element with the little like the magic powder dust, and they're just
Hmm?
like throwing it and pelting Muriel with it. And she's changing into different things.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it does the dust. Like I said, I like the animation around that is nice.
Yeah,
There was another bit of animation that I can't remember if it was in this one or the Scarecrow. I've just noticed the it's gotten smoother, the animation, or it's gotten like really like tight. I don't know,
yeah.
it's just clean lines, clean coloring. It's '02. It's not like super modern by today's standards, but like it feels like HD. It feels, I don't know if they remastered this at all.
That's possible too. I was wondering that too as we were watching because I know a lot of stuff on HBO Max now. It's like you said, it streams in 4K or high definition. So I'm not too positive. It does look very crisp though
It
and
looks
clean.
so good. And yeah, again, I don't know if it's just preserved better because it's being shown in HD or 4K, or they actually went back and remastered like the original edits, and restored
Hmm.
it, or did sometimes they do that.
Yeah,
Um, with Courage, I don't know how popular it was for them to go back to do that, but maybe.
it just seems very popular, even like around like even outside of just doing the YouTube space. Like when I talk to people at my work or just family and stuff, like it is a very popular show. A
Yeah.
lot of people like remember it. They have nostalgia memories of it, so I think even us, like I said, doing these episodes and deep diving them, it's really cool because we're discovering that the show is a lot better in terms of writing and themes than shows that were going out at that time. Like this
Right.
show is kind of really ahead of its time.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. All right. So we got one last part.
All
Episode
right.
9, part B. And this is Watch the Birdies. When Muriel gets abducted by a giant mother vulture, it tells her to look after its three babies while it flies off to find a new mate, or she will be eaten. So stakes are high in this one. Courage must help Muriel in keeping the babies safe. I was living for this vulture woman. She was she was given everything. Like New York kind of like, oh yeah, I gotta go find a husband or something. She was like all dolled up and
Oh yeah,
uh,
doing her makeup in the mirror and her eyelashes and her eyeshadow.
she was given it all. Now again, this is another silly one. Not really horror, but it's yeah, Muriel and Courage just looking after these three vulture babies.
That for some reason I thought their little like feather or their baby cap things looked like Mariel's hair a little bit, like the way they
Oh yeah.
designed their little baby cap things. So when I looked at them, I was like, they look like little baby Muriel's, like but bird versions.
Sure, maybe they did it on purpose then. If there's like because then that's why the mom picked her.
Yeah, but and then having to feed them and stuff, and yeah, having to go through the motions of seeing Courage have to like chew the food because of course you got to chew the food for the babies and everything.
Hmm. Yeah, right, right. So again, going through the motions of sort of being bird people,
Yeah, and a
surrogate bird
common thing too I've
parents.
noticed too. Yeah, and that's very common too is like Courage in a lot of these episodes he ends up becoming almost like a surrogate parent for other characters and
Yeah. which is again very sweet. It just sort of shows like Muriel and Courage as like caring individuals.
Yeah.
Obviously, Eustace can't be doing this. Well, he ends up honeyed and feathered by the end of the episode. Um, and so, but yeah, no, I love that kind of that caring, nurturing theme. Again, continuing through the characters. Um, and then yeah, sort of the last kind of twist is, she picks Eustace all covered in feathers and honey.
Yeah. And then we only get like a kind of semi-villain in this one, which is like the snake, who
Yes.
you could kind of view him as a villain, yeah, because the way he talks and like yeah, when he gets pulled out, he wants to eat the birdies and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. So it's sort of, yeah, you get this. I mean, yeah, I guess it's sort of like a villain, but it's like predator kind of, natural predator prey
Yeah.
kind of, animal animal planet kind of stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I liked. Yeah, it's like these episodes were very, like I said, nothing wild. Like I don't think any of them were bad. It was just like very comforting watches. They were either really funny, sci-fi heavy, and then the bird woman, she kind of reminded me, the vulture woman gave me a little bit of Giant Claw vibes. This old like black and white movie with a very giant bird. This is like I think the 50s. I think this is from like 52 or 53.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. Wait, what was it called?
Yeah. The giant claw.
The Giant Claw. Yeah, I don't think I've
Yeah,
seen that.
it's
I've
like
seen a
way
few
back in the
50s
day.
sort of monster stuff, but not that one.
There's another one I watched recently too, last year, called Them, which was about giant ants.
The
That was
Ant. I've
really
seen
good.
that one. I've seen that one.
That one's good.
Yeah, I actually saw that in college because I took a class on disaster movies, and that was because then we went in chronological order based on the curriculum. So for that
Nice.
was the first one we actually watched was them.
Yeah, that's a very strong movie. It holds up today for real. I could attest to that.
It's fun. It's great. And I never would have associated with like disaster movies, but I guess the disaster movie does sort of have roots in the early monster movies or like giant creatures attacking. I mean, it's a disaster, technically.
Oh yeah,
It's just not,
and that's what's cool too.
Poseidon or Twister.
Yeah, that's true. That's one thing too I've noticed in Courage. Like I said, we have a little bit of everything in terms of, like I said, sci-fi, disaster movies, monster flicks. We do a little bit of body horror.
Hmm.
Courage likes to, dip its toes in a little bit of every area and subgenre of horror.
Well, yeah. I mean, because I think it's definitely calling to, because horror didn't just start in like the 60s and 70s. We know that, right? So
Hmm.
horror for the longest time wasn't just what we think of as horror, right? It was also, again, all this like weird stuff, the sci-fi, the
Yeah,
fantastical, the macabre, like nothing just like, wasn't like it's not all Mikey or, or
yeah.
Freddy
It's not all like Chucky and stuff. Yeah, and slashes. We do love our slashes though, but it wasn't all about them before.
No, this is a real throwback to like real history stuff and just giving that overall vibe of like just off-putting, cinema without it being outright horror.
Yeah,
That was like it's all about the aesthetic too.
definitely. So it's
Uh,
been a great, great episode. Thank you, Steve, as we went through, like I
yeah.
said, season three, episodes 7, 8, and 9. A lot of fun stuff we chatted about. Is there anything before we sign off, before we go, is there anything on voices that you want to plug for the new year, since it is the new year?
Yeah, so I mean we're hitting the ground running, in the new year. We're back from our break. So keep an eye out for the Coffee Crypt Sunday the 12th. Will be a new
12th, yep.
episode of Norrin and myself. Uh, Angel's already back, I think, with some interviews, some horror bestie breakdowns. We've got some found footage stuff coming your way, some really fun movies. So now that we have
Nice.
Found TV, which is the found footage streaming app, we have an entire catalog of so many movies to choose from. And, Angel's probably seen so many that were already on there, but um, it's opened up a whole world to me. So that's, we got a lot of good stuff coming your way
Awesome.
there. Horrific Heroes coming back. Rob and I will be breaking down. Well, we did Agatha all along, so that's inspired me to want to go back and drag Rob along with me to talk about WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness. Uh,
Nice.
and so a lot of cool things.
Awesome, awesome. See, it's always exciting stuff going on at Voices. And like I said, thank you everybody for joining us today. Please like the video. Always helps out the channel, and share, subscribe, all that jazz that we talk about. And have a safe and happy day out there.
See ya.
Peace out.